Welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. Every week, I have the honor of having a guest in the wellness space that is really a game changer. And today, I have Nikki Sharp. She is a wellness coach and expert in many different forms of wellness and exercise and Ayurvedic. And she's a best-selling author of 2 books. And she is also, she probably doesn't want me to say this, but she's a social media guru. She does the most magnificent job with her social media. So I'm not sure we'll talk about that to the degree we should, but we're going to talk about wellness and the well-roundedness of what we need to know about it. And she knows it all. So welcome.
Well, thank you. What an intro. I love it.
Well, I really admire, we were talking earlier that you have only been in the business for 6 years. And I basically thought you've been in the business for 10 years. I mean, you feel like you've been around and you really have the pulse on what's going on. So I absolutely love that.
I have realized that, well, one of the many things that I've realized is that I feel like I've been in the business for a really long time because I've seen it change so dramatically from when I started to where we are now. And also, I was going through my own journey for so many years before it that I was learning about health and wellness. So that's why it feels like it. And I'm very authentic in everything I do and share. And it's never been about trying to be an influencer. Right. It's just sharing really good information.
And I love that. That word you just used, authentic. Yes. You are authentic. And that's what is so fabulous about you. So how, your own journey, you said you were going through. What was that about?
That was modeling for many years. Mm-hmm. I graduated university and then did the full circuit internationally, went modeling in all these different countries worldwide, and I was battling 2 eating disorders that nobody knew about. I mean, the modeling industry, they all know about it, but publicly, my friends and family probably knew because I was way too skinny.
Right. They didn't say anything.
But they don't say anything because you're in that industry. They think you're going to be okay. And I realized for my own life, I needed to change something. And I started learning about health. It was like a light bulb went off. I felt passionate about it. I still didn't know where my career would go, though, because I started thinking, I'll be a personal trainer like my stepdad. I really liked yoga. I was really into cycling because my mom was a cyclist. So I didn't know where to go, and it was very scary. Right. But I kept learning and going to different courses and studying all sorts of different things in London where I was living. And by sharing my own journey on Instagram, when I started my Instagram account and sharing my vulnerability of going through the eating disorder and how I felt each day, people started relating because nobody else was doing it at the time. And
how long ago was that?
Oh gosh, I think 6 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 7 years ago. Okay. 6, 7 years ago. Yeah.
Right. People weren't really being honest about what was going on for them.
I mean, Instagram was fun. We were using it to, share
the
photos.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I know. It was fun back then. Right. And we shared what we wanted to. Mm-hmm. There was no business aspect of it and stress that came with it. And I started an account to motivate myself to go work out, to not be so skinny. So it was Strong is the New Skinny, Fit Girls, motivational quotes, beautiful food that I was inspired to make. And the more that I posted that, the more people followed me because I wasn't doing it for anyone else.
Right.
So it was for me, and it was authentic. And again, it wasn't saturated like it is today.
Right.
But I see that it worked, and people started mimicking my account. People copied my 5-day detox.
Right.
I guess flattery.
That was very popular.
Right. And it just kind of spiraled, and I had no idea ever that it would get to the level that it is, or that I'd be where I am. And I try to, as we were talking, pinch myself and say, you've done all of these things. You have a #1 app. You have 2 books. You're a health coach. I'm a speaker across the world. So it's like, I have to kind of check myself a little bit.
I know, it's so commendable. It is. I mean, that's what I love about someone like you is that you learn through this, through your own experiences, and you just sort of went with your intuition. Like the authenticism and the intuition part of you is such a beautiful combination. So you don't do one-on-ones then?
I do.
You do?
I
Okay.
do. For a while, I stopped because I was doing purely health coaching, and I started to lose my passion purely for the reason that so many people want to lose weight. And I'm sure you get this a lot. People,
weight loss.
women, they come and they want to lose weight, and they're not willing to actually put in the work. They want the magic pill.
Yeah.
And so I stopped doing one-on-ones. And recently I've started doing them again because I'm not calling them about, health coaching. It's actually life coaching. Because the weight loss has a deeper meaning. We know that.
Right.
The food we eat has to do with something else.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out what the conscious and subconscious patterns are. And I'm really interested in psychology, the mental aspect of things. And so my career is shifting a little bit. And so with that, I'm attracting the people who are ready to put in the work.
Right. Psychologically, really look at their stuff, like that subconscious takes over, right?
Icky, hard to deal with. You don't want to, but when you do, beautiful things come.
Yeah. So how did you deal with your subconscious stuff? Was that, I'm sure a lot of that was going on with the, trying to be skinny and the eating disorder. So how did you work through all that? Was it on your own?
God, it was actually a lot of it on my own, which I don't recommend. I think finding a mentor or a guide or hiring a health or a life coach or going to a Tony Robbins event or doing the work where it's not just by yourself is absolutely where you should be going. But
because you need the support.
You need the support in those down and out moments where you're like, I can't do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Life is so hard. You need someone just to be like, no, I've been there.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've been exactly where you are.
Right.
So I remember actually I went to, when I was going through the eating disorder, both of them. I was living in London and I went to an eating disorder clinic and it was a 6-month wait list. And I'm like, I don't have 6 months just to wait to get an appointment.
Right.
Like I need help now. And so I went to the doctor's office and they gave me antidepressant medication. I took it for a day and I'm like, I'm not depressed. There's something else. And I realized just through a lot of work, years of work, that my value was so highly tied to the way that I looked, to how skinny I was. And the work that I've done through going to other people's retreats, doing my yoga teacher training, meditation, it's been how to have value for myself that doesn't rely on anything to do with how I look. And so now I take care of my body because I like to feel good.
Right.
I exercise because I like to have energy. I like to wake up with energy. I want clear skin because it makes me feel confident.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. I don't care if I look beautiful to other people or
Just
if I look skinny. Yeah. It's like, it's not about skinny. It's like, how do I feel in that moment? So it's definitely been a lot of years. And even now today, I'm going through another shift in my life. And it's
what is
icky and painful. What's the shift?
What is the shift?
I've been living in LA for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, but the last 2 years of it while living here, I was starting to get anxious ridden and depressed. And I didn't understand why. Yeah.
I've heard that often, actually.
I started traveling a lot. Yeah. And you don't think of that because it's like, it's the health and wellness epicenter of the world. And we have everything at our fingertips. And people live and breathe this. And you're like, well,
you think you'd feel connected and nurtured and nourished. And
and I found also with social media, the more connected we are, the more disconnected we get. So I started traveling extensively. I mean, I visited.
And what does that look like?
Oh my gosh. In 2017, it was going to Arizona, Santa Barbara, San Diego, San Francisco, Tahoe, Bali, Colorado, Italy, Miami, Caribbean, Kenya.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. Kenya, back to San Francisco, to Paris. I mean, it was like...
And what did that do for you?
I was trying to find something.
Some meaning to
and I didn't even know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find something. And when I went to Kenya to go volunteer, I remember getting there and saying, I want to feel part of a community that just has love. That's it, nothing else. And I found it. And then I came back to LA over Christmas, where we have everything, and people were miserable. And I broke down crying. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't understand why. And I booked a ticket and I went to Paris. I couldn't explain why, but the universe kind of guided me there. And I listen now when something happens. And I went to Paris over the holidays, and then I went there this summer. I moved there for the summer. I sold all of my stuff. I let go of my apartment, no car. I got rid of everything.
That's fearlessness. That is so
it's terrifying, though. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But I was listening.
But you had no choice, right? You sort of, in your own psyche said,
my own
I don't have a
psyche
choice
said,
here.
You're unhappy. So if you're unhappy, you need
Why stay?
And it's like, I was so happy there. So it's not saying I can't ever come back here. And things are just things. You sell your couch, you can buy a new couch.
Right.
But we get so attached to things. And so my journey has been, can I fit all of my stuff into one suitcase? Which I'm not there yet, but I'm trying.
What size suitcase are we talking?
Oh, a normal big one, but it's like, can I do that?
Yeah.
And I went to Paris. I had the best time. For the first time in my life, I was not stressed. I felt happy every day. And that's not to say I didn't go through things while I was there.
And why was that? Why did Paris do that for you and not LA?
In LA. In Europe, they work to live. They don't work these crazy hours. I mean, the best example was a nail salon. It was closing at 6 p.m. A group of 5 women came in, and they turned them down, and they said, we're close at 6. In America, they'll take, oh my God, of course, we want you. We want you here. And so I realized coming back, and now I'm in LA for a few weeks, that I am as stressed as I was before I left. And I've put back a few pounds. And I know, like, I can afford it, so that's fine. But I was eating all the bad things, everything that we criticize and say are, don't do.
What are
in LA.
those?
Gluten, cheese, dairy, wine, all the things that were, in
You were
America,
just craving those.
Not even craving, but just the quality of food's so good there as well. And we have all of these food substitutes. We have things that, we've taken the sugar out, and we eat a cookie that is a paleo, gluten-free, this, that, the other cookie. And it's like, what you want is just the damn cookie.
Right. A real thing.
Cookie.
Yeah.
The difference, though, is that, again, their food quality is much higher. And so I understand, the juxtaposition of both of them. But long story long is that going there, I ate all the things that I wasn't allowed to eat in LA. My skin cleared up. I had more energy. I slept better. I met more friends. And then I get back to LA, and it's my best friends. Some of them I still haven't seen. I've been here nearly a month. And I still haven't been able to connect with them because they're so busy. They're so busy.
Yeah.
And I realized that LA for me was actually a bit toxic. And so I've done so much self-work over the past 2 years that my own journey and my career is shifting from specifically food to more of the mental wellness aspect and the stress that we have, and how can we connect to people in order to feel more connected to ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's where my passion lies right now.
That's a perfect place to be, because I think that, that is where true wellness is. Totally. The emotional component, the stress, we talk about, you can definitely eat healthy, but if you're stressed and you're emotionally not well, you're really not going to absorb the nutrients. Really, that good, healthy food isn't really going to do anything for you.
And we know disease is dis-ease.
Yeah.
And it only comes when we haven't listened to the body telling us something. The body says, okay, I'm going to give you a headache every day. And you're like, okay, I'll pop an Advil. The body's like, well, I'm going to give you muscle aches and pains. You pop something else. Body says, okay, well, we're going to break a leg for you to make a change. Doesn't matter. And it gets to this point where someone then gets a disease, dis-ease of the body, or a cancer or something. And it's like, it's because you haven't been listening to what the body's been saying. And I know you know this beyond anything, because it's it changed your life.
It did. It did. And it still does daily. I mean, we think we get to a certain place and we've got it all taken care of and covered. And then something else pops up. That's some other issue that I have to listen to. It's screaming at me.
But how beautiful is it to be able to be aware of this screaming now?
And that's why what you're doing is so important, because people need to be reconnected to themselves.
Yes.
And like really tune into their intuition.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you teach people to do to tune in, or maybe to tune out in a good way?
Yeah. I always start with, what is someone's goal or goals? We have many.
Right.
And then the question of, okay, what is the goal behind that? So my favorite question is, and then what? Once you hit it, and then what? Or if you have a fear, I love stepping into fears. That's actually when I work with clients, one of the first things that we do is, and I'm there to support them every single day, because it's when you start to bring out the fears in people, that's when sabotage happens, self-sabotage. And we go back to all of the things of, we binge eat because we're emotionally terrified of what we're facing. But I have people write down all of their fears. And I say, when you've gotten down and you say, okay, I'm scared I'm going to lose my job, you say, and then what? What will happen if you lose your job? I won't have money. Okay, and then what? I won't be able to live in my apartment. And then what? And you start to realize that people's fears of, for me, this is what I learned, at least for myself, if I wasn't skinny, it translated all the way down to, I was going to have a normal 9-to-5 job, and I wouldn't be unique.
Interesting.
And I had no idea that for me,
that was where it came from.
For me, and I don't have any issue with 9-to-5 jobs, because there's so many times that I wish I had one.
Right, exactly.
Because
me too.
Your own company and entrepreneurship is
You're on all the time.
Hard. And so there's no right or wrong, but it really came down to, if I wasn't skinny, I wouldn't feel unique. And if I wasn't unique, nobody would like me.
Right. Wow.
And so I was only able to get there through the, and then what? It wasn't even, I'm going to have to move back to my mom's house because I'm broke. It's, I'm not going to be liked by people. And so I
your
think
self-worth, your self-esteem, all of that is low.
It's really, and that's where most
people
is. We're scared of the most basic things, of living on the streets, of not living this lifestyle that we want. Well, if you don't live the lifestyle, then what? Well, it means people aren't going to like you. And so we all want to be connected and liked. And I don't even go to the, you have to love yourself. I think that we're allowed to hate ourselves. We're a work in progress. But you can love things about yourself, and you can hate things, but just start to work on those. And so that's kind of where I am at right now with coaching people and myself. And
do you plan on staying in LA? Or are we thinking? No. Okay.
No, I'm trying to get back to Paris.
Oh, wow.
My goal is to be in LA and come here for about 1 to 2 months. I'm here for 1.5 months now, and I've jammed everything in, and it's super stressful because everyone wants to meet up. But the beautiful thing is that I've put a filter on my time. So when someone wants to meet up for the infamous coffee dates in LA, the lunch dates, let's talk business over lunch. I always send a text message now, and I say, do you want to just reconnect like as friends, which I would love to, or is this business for the coffee dates, the business ones? And then I say, how can I prepare for this? When you ask that question and people can't answer, it means that they're fishing for your time.
Wow. I've never heard that before. Nikki. That is so
fascinating. So I've been able to say, okay, I realize you're trying to
put up boundaries here. You're just,
I've got so much more work done and work opportunities that have come because I've been able to filter through all the coffee, lunch, business
that you would have somewhat wasted your time.
And it's
time suck.
A time suck, and LA is known for this. And
that's true.
It's stressful right now because I have everything crammed into one, but I'm seeing the people that are really meaningful to me. I'm seeing who doesn't have time for me. And I will go back to Paris, and I also see a niche in the market that there's a lot of things we're doing here that I would like to bring there.
Because this wellness is not happening in Paris.
No.
Right? This whole
it is, and
insurgence
some of it is, but they're also much more aware of their health in terms of they go sit in a park with a book and they read for hours.
Right.
Things that you would never see an American doing. We live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. When was the last time? I mean, well, you're different, but when was the last time you went to the beach without your
I knew
phone
you were
and a
going to say
book
that.
and just read?
I knew you're busting me totally because I haven't. And I've been
And neither
saying
have I.
to people, oh God, do I need a break? Do I need a break? But I don't take the break. You're right. It's really crazy making. And
it's like in Paris, they do. Every Monday, people go to the park and you see people off their phones. I mean, it's unheard of to be at a table at dinner looking at your phone. Unheard of.
Love that.
And it was such a shift for me that I feel so calm and relaxed now.
Right.
That people are telling me I have a much different energy. And I'm like, well, that's because I feel like I'm really living life for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm asking myself the challenging questions. And I'm not scared of what's coming up and the demons. And we all have them. And I'm terrified of what this next step looks like for me because I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's
but
terrifying.
It sounds like you're also totally excited.
Yes.
Because I mean, you've gotten to the place where whatever's going to happen for you, you're going to make it happen. For
we
what?
think,
right?
we believe.
I believe that. You're right, but I do have that same feeling of terrified.
Yeah.
And
I think
if I walk away today, what would happen?
What will happen? And it goes to the and then what?
Yeah.
But I do believe that when we get in touch with ourselves, and it's for you and I and people in the wellness world, we know what being in tune with ourselves looks like.
Right.
But we had to go through a lot of years of not being in tune. But for someone who's watching this who is binge eating or is over exercising or isn't in tune with themselves or doesn't know what to eat because every diet says something different, it's hard to know. But I always say when you get that feeling in your stomach that terrifies you, it means you should do it.
Yeah.
But you also know your body tells you when something around you isn't right.
Right. It does.
It tells you.
Always.
And it tells you when something is right. And we try to make up all the stories of like, I'm hungry. The body says I'm hungry. And we're like, oh, I need coffee. And body's like, no, I need food. And you're like, oh, well, let me go for a run. No, I just need food.
Right.
And you're like, well, let me give you a paleo gluten-free high protein bar. The body's like, give me some
real food.
Yeah. But we make up all these other excuses as to what's going on. So
Right. So what would you say your non-negotiables? I could talk to you forever. I know. What are your non-negotiables for yourself?
Right now, it is meditating. Over the summer, I've been in LA again. I always said I need to meditate. I would meditate.
And you didn't do it as much as you probably
I mean, I'd
should've.
meditate maybe once every few weeks.
Right.
Because I didn't have time because it was, am I going to go to the gym and work out or meditate? Because I didn't have enough time for both.
You didn't think you did.
I didn't think I did. So now it's meditation, 20 minutes in the morning, non-negotiable. Other ones for me is, oh gosh, this is great. The not doing any sort of meeting that doesn't feel good for me.
Yeah, that's also.
I said no to.
I've learned from that. I've learned from you for that. Yeah, no to a lot of things.
And not only that, but in LA, there are so many events going on. I've learned to say no to nearly all of them. And it's scary because you're like, oh, what, the networking. So if it doesn't feel 100% correct, I say no to it. My other non-negotiable is that, and this is something that I wish more people did, I text at least one of my friends. And it doesn't matter, it can be someone out of the blue, just whoever pops into my mind. It could be my parents, a friend, it could be you. I will text them and say, hey, how's your day going? Or, hey, have a beautiful day.
Oh.
And so often we get caught up in our own mind. And I started this during my book launch in May. For the book launch process is insanity. And I was so stressed out. And I started texting my friends saying, hey, how are you? I came to find out that one of my friends, her mother has stage 4 cancer. The other one, her grandmother was dying. And here I was stressing about a book launch. Like, woe is me, you have a book coming out. That's amazing. Stop being stressed and be there for the friends in your life.
Right.
So now to get a reality check on how stressed I am,
Yeah.
I check in with other people. So that's another non-negotiable that I
I
have.
absolutely love that. That one, excuse me, that one I know. I do the same thing with checking in on clients. Like if I'm feeling sort of just, all in my own space and I check in on them, and it's so amazing to have that connection with people.
When you realize we're all going through something, good and bad. And like, I have a friend who just moved. She's looking for a new job and she's scared she's not going to find a job. And it's like, that's stressful. I get it.
Right.
I'm trying to move back to Paris and I don't have an apartment yet. I don't speak French. That's stressful.
Right.
So we're all going through something. And I think that with technology and social media, yes, we have communities and yes, I'm an influencer, but I want to be able to influence someone's life by a one-to-one conversation that makes them feel valued.
Right.
That's all it is.
So I ask all my guests if they had to sum up their mission in one word, what would yours be?
Oh my gosh. One word. Seeking.
I like it.
Because I believe that I'm seeking things, others are seeking things, and with seeking comes power and knowledge.
Yes, and we have to continue to seek as much as possible.
Seek as much as possible, because we don't know what we're here doing.
Right.
But when you seek who you are and you seek out who others are and you seek friends, you seek out new books, you seek knowledge, I think that
I love it.
That's what it is.
Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you.